The first class is always on fear because that's why people are not blank, 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 blank. That's why they're not speaking their truth in their relationships. That's why they're not pursuing the career that would be most fulfilling. That's why they're not speaking up to the person who's abusing them. That's why they're not posting on social media during a genocide because they don't know what to fucking say. Because it's the fear function like you just
Mhm.
spoke to. And 10 out of 10 people, no, 9.5 out of 10 people, there's those outliers, right? That are like, I'm afraid of aliens. And you're like, oh, okay, well, this class ain't
Good
gonna
luck
help you with
with
that.
that.
But good, yeah, like they're here. I saw some stuff on the
Yeah.
internet this morning. Let's talk about it. Um,
I believe you.
is
I've seen
that
them.
nine
Yeah, so
point five?
I literally
Yeah.
have seen them. But we can talk about that later. No, no,
Well,
no, no,
we
no,
can we can
no,
go
no. Let's
there.
not.
It's
This is
it's
about true.
here.
This is
What's your alien
just.
truth?
It's too long of a story. Maybe I'll tell you at some point, or maybe.
You have to do a solo cast on
Anyways,
that
yeah.
one.
You'll continue to with the truth training.
So the rest, so you're that other like 0.5%, but the 9.5 out of 10 folks, when I'm like, yo, what are you afraid of? All of those fears have to do with other
Mm,
people. I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid of being unloved. I'm afraid of being looked at like I'm crazy. I'm afraid of my marriage failing. I'm afraid, and all those fears are totally justifiable. And I try to help people come into like, there's the concept, the fear idea, there's the fear as a emotion, and then there's the fear in the animal body as the soma, as the somatic experience of like the contraction or the expansion or the running or the anxiety, right? But outside of all that, what I started tracking was like, oh, we're just afraid of each other. That's it. So, what kind of reality is this that we're living in where people's number one fear is other people's thoughts and other people's opinions? And that's why so much of this work is foundationally relational
mm.
healing. Because if I'm, if and it's kind of like who started it, like the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own
Chicken or
tail.
the egg?
Because if everyone's walking around in this, totally the
Yeah.
chegg, that's what it is. But let's say everyone's walking
Mhm.
around in some grade, except for there are those people that are not, but broadly, people are walking around with some fear underlying, smoldering, simmering below the surface of what do they think about me? If I say this, am I going to be okay? If this happens, da
Yeah.
da da da, am I going to be okay in the world of
Yeah. This
mankind?
applies to about ninety nine
And
point nine
so,
nine 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 percent of people. Yeah.
totally, yeah. And on one hand, it's excruciatingly heartbreaking. It's like, oh my God, like what happened? You talk about, surrendering to like to feeling things, and you come and you sit and you're just like, how did, how the fuck did we get here? Like. And you see it with like the pervading wars against mankind and like dysfunction. It's almost like is man meant to fear and hate itself forever? And like that's a tangent that we shan't go
Yeah.
into. But underneath all of that, what I've learned is that it doesn't have to be entirely true. And so through self-expression, through taking personal responsibility for one's own feelings, through dismantling a little the projection field and the assumptions of how people are going to think if you sing your soul song or you start your career or you tell your partner that you want a different kind of relationship, that there's a personal responsibility that can be activated with a lot of compassion that can change that story just enough to where people can start to actually feel safe being who they really are, feeling how they really feel, and expressing life force energy in the world the way that they were actually meant to.